Thanks for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Good day to everybody, and welcome to this edition of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. I'm Steven Jodarin here in Wisconsin. Down in Texas is Armand Kafai. Jake Watroba hanging out in Minnesota. Follow us on Twitter, Uncle Sam's Soccer Pod. We've really enjoyed your feedback regarding our mini-series looking at the potential relocation of the Columbus Crew. We've been getting an enormous amount of comments, thoughts, and feedback. We appreciate it all. You can follow me at Steven Jodarin. You can follow Armand at Armand Kafai. Follow Jake at Jake Watroba. We've also started a little website, so you can find the show there. You can find a little more information about us, and we'll be running a blog there. So we'll be posting, weekly stuff, weekly comments, a couple of news items regarding the show, anything special we're doing. On this episode, we'll be talking a lot about the first half of MLS. Charles Boehm will be calling in, talking DC United and Audi Stadium. Of course, Wayne Rooney. To counterattack with Jake Watroba wraps up the show. Fellas, how we doing today?
I'm doing good. I don't know, how are y'all doing?
I'm doing fine. It's Sunday. It's
Derby Day, boys. What are you talking about? God. It's the Hudson River Derby.
Jake's
I'm
favorite.
Doing great. My Red Bulls, baby.
That only 29,000 people in New York seem to care about.
My Red Bulls. We're about to go MLS Cup, baby. And the only reason why I'm putting on this persona is because I have a Red Bulls jersey on right now. So
that's a great visual for this non-visual podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
First half of MLS season has been an interesting one. But Armand, what's your biggest takeaway from the first half?
So, contrary to the public's opinion, which is, Atlanta number one, yeah, Atlanta, yeah, cough, Jake. I think Red Bull has been the most impressive team coming out this season. I mean, usually we think of they're up there, but Jesse Marsch really implemented a system of pressing and forcing problems. And actually, I think they have 4 games in hand on Atlanta. So they're sitting on 32 points. So if they win all 4 of those games, they would have I can't do math right now. They would have more than Atlanta. So I mean, they've been really impressive though. I mean, Tyler Adams has controlled the midfield well. I mean, Bradley Wright Phillips continues to score. They've done well with their acquisitions like Kaku. He's been a great acquisition. Who Charles actually will mention him later on, talking about how he could potentially be dark horse for MVP. So they have a lot of these pieces going, and they're playing a great stadium too. I have to add that. So I think they've been great, but I think Jake is not going to agree with me.
No, I mean, they've been a great team thus far throughout the season. Now, what they do from here on out, now that Jesse Marsch is heading over to Germany, that's going to be a different question, and that could really shape how things play out for the Red Bulls and for the Eastern Conference. My most impressive team is Atlanta United. I don't see how you can't say it's them, or could say it's anybody else for that matter. The style of play is so attractive. They are single-handedly kind of changing the perception of MLS with all the young talent they have on the field with Almiron, Joseph Martinez, Villalba. To me, they are the most impressive side. And I think what I'm interested to see, especially come time for the playoffs, is if they maintain this top spot in the Eastern Conference and MLS as a whole, how will they do in a 2-legged playoff versus a one-game playoff like they had last year against the Crew, where anything can really happen?
You know what my biggest takeaway from the first half of the season is how
No, tell us.
No, tell us.
how terrible Orlando City has just become. Like, it is surprising how they had this winning streak. They suddenly looked like a legit team poised for the playoffs, and then they just hit a cliff, and it's just lost. Like, if you're a betting man, you'd pick whoever Orlando City is playing to win the game. I mean, it is loss after loss.
Mm-hmm. Steven, you're right.
Here's my other big takeaway. You learn nothing in the first half of MLS season. Yeah, you could kind of divide the good and the bad, but Orlando City could get hot and they could sneak in the playoffs because we've seen that before. That's, I guess, the beauty, some call it, or the disaster that MLS is in its system. There's the good and the bad, and when the bad teams are bad, it's not a good look. But when Atlanta United score beautiful goals like they tend to do, it's a wonderful look for Major League Soccer.
Yeah, when Atlanta went on that 6-game win streak, I don't know if it was 6 or 7. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I don't know if it was on this show or if I was texting about it, but I don't know about y'all, but I was really skeptical about that 6-game winning streak because they did not look like a good team during that 6-game winning streak. Sure, they got victories, but a lot of it was just late, come from behind wins, which isn't a sustainable way to win matches. You need to dominate throughout the match. I think it was against Portland where they scored, 3 goals. They were down like 2-1 or something, or 2-0, and they scored 3 goals to win it. I mean, for the first 80 minutes of that game, they looked terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just Portland fell apart, and Orlando scored off I think it was a suspect penalty and a weird set piece. And then they got the third goal, I think it was through Mueller. And they just didn't look so dominating. So to me, I honestly wouldn't say that's a surprise because the way Orlando City's roster's been set up, I mean, you'd think they'd be better though, right? Because they have the fan base, they have a great stadium, they seem to have owners who are willing to invest. But right now, I mean, it's not looking so good for Orlando. I mean, at the end of last season, they were even losing fans. I mean, not a lot of people were showing up to matches. So it's a tough thing with Orlando City, but I think a lot of people would expect them with that roster to at least make like a 6 seed in the playoffs right now.
I got nothing to add on Orlando. I just think I saw them play early in the season, and I thought they looked. I'm trying to think of the best word because the word I want to use we probably shouldn't say on the podcast. They didn't look very good. Okay, it starts with an A. Okay, we'll just say that.
They looked mediocre.
It rhymes with bass. They look mediocre.
Average.
So I don't know. I said this probably about 2 months ago, and I don't believe they're in the playoff picture anymore. Let me refresh MLSsoccer.com here. And lo and behold, they aren't anymore. But I believe they were the 6th seed, I want to say a month or two ago, and I wasn't buying into it. They don't look good. They just got rid of their head coach and hired the guy from
Louisville City.
Thank you, Louisville City. To me, I don't know if that's gonna move the bar much for them, or if that's gonna get them back into the playoff picture. So I don't know. Orlando to me is just a team I guess I don't really need to ever watch.
It's been an interesting first half of the season, and there's only so much that we could discuss regarding the first half. And I thought, why not have a little fun with it? It's the American Soccer League. It's our favorite soccer league here in America. It's got its ups and its downs. You know, whether it's the 70,000 that show up for Atlanta or the thousands on social media ripping Anthony Precourt, MLS, and Don Garber for the potential relocation of the crew. It's our league. It's our sport, and it's a sport of today and tomorrow in America. I truly believe that. So we're halfway. So let's give out Uncle Sam's MLS Midseason Awards. And I'm going to be the host here. We will all give our rewards for it. But the blank moment, WTF moment of the first half. Jake, I'll give you the first one.
I think this is going to be everyone's WTF moment, but for me it was Zlatan's MLS debut against LAFC. The 40 to 45 yard goal off the volley to tie the game late, and then the eventual header in stoppage time to win the match was definitely, oh my God, what the bleep just happened? That was amazing. Did you guys see this?
That was one hell of a moment. For me, I guess we're going to jump to me now. Jake, you're going to love this one. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but whenever I think what the bleep, I'm more of like, oh, like what the bleep that actually happened. That Zlatan thing was pretty nice, not going to lie. But I'm going with Darren Quintero's hat trick against Toronto FC. I think that hat trick, first off, I think it almost nailed the coffin in Toronto FC's season. And secondly, just what a signing he's been to score 3 world-class goals. And let me just emphasize. I put it on Twitter. I'm going to emphasize it again. Minnesota United bought him from Club America for $200,000. Brilliant piece of business, brilliant player, and that chip over Irwin, woo! That was just
which one?
Filthy. The last one, the third one. That third one was filthy. He's been a great addition for Minnesota, and I'm glad to see they have a competent player on their team.
All right, so for my WTF moment, it's Ibrahimovic, but it's his scoring success after what he did against LAFC. Yes, he hit a stunner. That's a great WTF. But what's more striking is he's been consistent with his play. And it's like, this dude has it. Like, WTF, he is legit. And he came into Major League Soccer to prove a point, and he's proving it quite well. So for our second award, it is the really bro moment, player or team of the first half. Basically, like, the most negative thing that could potentially happen in the first half of Major League Soccer. The really bro moment.
Would you say it's kind of like ESPN's with NFL Countdown? Come on, man, like that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's the really bro, but we got soccer, really bro.
Sure.
So, my really bro moment is Toronto FC being just really bad as of recording this. They've been terrible. Not good enough. I mean, that first goal against Minnesota, I keep referencing because I was watching that game actually before the Dallas one. The defense just like spread like the Red Sea, and there was this huge gap that Calvo found. I think it was it Quintero on the first one?
Quintero's on the first one, but the second goal I think second goal,
yeah.
The Miguel Ibarra goal where the Red Sea did part.
Yeah,
because
there you go. Yes, perfect. Yeah, that's the second goal. It just looks bad. They struggle to get results. They don't get results against good teams. There's still a part in me that says, hey, they can sneak into that 6th seed and make a run in MLS Cup. But like Giovinco is looking all sorts of off. They don't look like a good team. Akache, the signing they had from Bilbao, has not been able to fit in with the team well. A team that's been to back-to-back MLS Cups, a team that went to the CONCACAF Champions League final and lost in penalties, there's no excuse for them to be this low.
For me, I'm going to also harp on a team for my really bro award. This award goes to Minnesota United. Not sure if you guys know this, but the San Jose Earthquake have 2 wins on the season. Can you guess what team they've beaten twice this year?
Minnesota.
Minnesota United.
That's awesome. What a stat. That is great.
San Jose Earthquakes are the worst team in MLS, and Minnesota United, who by all accounts is still a pretty bad team, has managed to lose to them twice. I like me, that's just like, come on, you can't at least draw San Jose Earthquakes at home too.
So my really bro moment goes out to Ziggy Smith for not figuring out how to include Ibrahimovic into his lineup and incorporating his style and changing his team, because for a while LA seemed to be losing games left and right to the scoreline of, like, I think 3-2, right? Something like that. Now they can't win, but they're not losing, so they're consistently drawing, and they allow a ton of goals in, but they seem to score. I know they just got to win. But Ziggy Schmidt, really, bro? You can't figure it out?
That team is really leaky, man. Whenever I watch the Dallas and the Galaxy play, they're pretty leaky defensively. Need some help. Jeff Cameron?
Jeff Cameron, yes. He is rumored to be coming to MLS. Anyway, the tool-bag moment, player, or team of the first half. Now, everybody knows what a tool bag is. It's just another synonym for blank bag, a DB. So, without further ado, Jake, take it away.
This award goes to all the crew fans in my mentions. Because I had an objective thing to say about their attendance issues. And while I want the team to stay in Columbus, and I'm pretty sure I said that on our last episode, that didn't stop them from telling me that I was an idiot and that I don't know anything about legalities and how I'm just picking and choosing what facts I want to use. So to all the crew fans who were in my mentions throughout the week, this award goes out to you.
Oh, God.
Armand.
So mine's going to be a specific player, and it's just the way I've been seeing him play recently and his comments. And I've been very defensive of this player before too, but these performances just have not been cutting it. It's Michael Bradley for Toronto FC. His performances have not been cutting it. He just looks again, the Minnesota game. I just keep mentioning that game because there was just one of those plays where you just kind of watch the guy go by. And it's like, this guy is one of the more higher paid players in MLS, and he's just struggling so bad. And yet, Lions, sheep, Steven's favorite quote. He's just, I sit there, man. $6 million, and he hasn't done much, and this team is just a total train wreck. I think the most important player on our team is probably Altidore. I mean, from what we've seen, without Altidore, they've been a complete mess. So, I mean, Michael Bradley, step up your game, man. I want to see Toronto FC make it into the playoffs, but these performances aren't cutting it.
My tool bag award goes to Anthony Precourt for not necessarily relocating Columbus Crew. That's a massive DB moment, but it's more so the fact that he can't figure it out with Austin. You're dragging the Crew and the Crew fans through the mud. Now you're deciding to stab them along the way and then bring in all the Austin folks with the hope that they might get an MLS team, because Anthony Precourt seems to have another option in mind, a plan C, if all else fails. And to me, the lack of clarity, and then on top of that, it just taking the Crew fans through the mess that they're having to go through. It is a tool bag worthy award. Our next award is the Bravo Moment, player or team of the first half. What was the spectacular? And I will actually take this one first, my friends.
Ooh.
And Colin Martin for coming out. I think that's a Bravo moment for the league. It's a good moment for the league. And what I liked more is he came out, but he didn't throw it into people's face. He did it, and it went straight back to soccer. And when he came onto the pitch, he got a standing ovation. It's fantastic for the league that we can incorporate people with different faiths, backgrounds, sexualities. It's good. It's just good for the league. And let's come to the point where it shouldn't matter that if he's gay or not. Let's just talk about soccer.
That's a great point, Steven. My Bravo moment. It's not as big of a moment as yours, I'd say, but Giassi Zardes' vengeance season. I absolutely love it. This guy was getting shredded by many while with the Galaxy. Oh, he's not good enough. Where's Giassi? What's going on? Blah, all this stuff. Put it right back. I mean, come on, man. You can't put a forward out right back and expect great results. He's come back to the tune of, I got to look up this number real quick. There's plenty of goals. He has a defined role now. He knows like what he's doing. He talks all the time about Greg Berhalter giving him this role, and he's shown that he's not 11 goals in 20 games. Like, come on, this guy's been great when not put at right back. This is the most amount of goals he's scored since 2014. He's shown why he was in the U.S. men's national team's radar, and he just looks like a much more confident player. And I'm just really happy after all of the hate he was getting that he's now scoring goals again.
Well, for me, my Bravo moment, to keep it in Columbus, because I apparently hate the Crew so much. Bravo to the Columbus Crew and the team's performance amidst the potential speculation of relocation of the team. The Crew, as of today, sit fourth in the Eastern Conference with 30 points. That, to me, I think is a remarkable thing, considering the players don't know where they're going to be living or playing in the next 6 to 9 months. So, hand clap to the Columbus Crew.
Awesome. Well, our next award is the FU Moment Player or Team of the First Half, given to the player, coach, or team that has shut up pundits for their preseason talk about that player, coach, or team. Jake, you want to take it away?
My FU Moment award, whatever you want to call it, goes to Brad Friedel, coach of the New England Revolution.
Yep.
I believe a lot of us ripped on the Revolution for the hire way back when this was it in the fall or winter. As of today, today being what, July 8th? July 8th. The Revs are in 5th place in the Eastern Conference with 28 points. They were not a very good team last year, if memory serves me correctly. They all amidst the Lee Wynn rumors of him wanting out of New England and just how bad the Revolution were last year. To me, this was kind of an FU moment that Brad Friedel was able to not only turn the ship around, but show people he knows a thing or two about coaching.
Jake, you stole my thunder. I think Brad Friedel has the absolute right to say FU to everybody. His New England Revolution sit pretty in the Eastern Conference. They have a great home record, just about where you would think a good MLS side. Yeah, they can improve on their away side, but it's not like New England Revolution have the greatest amount of talent. He's done well. He's got the team organized, and they seem to be winning at home, and in MLS that matters, and good for Friedel.
For me, my, I guess, FU moment has to be, I'm going to keep it in Dallas, the strong start FC Dallas and Oscar Pareja have had this season. I know Steven has been really skeptical of Oscar Pareja's Oscar Pareja in general, but currently the team sits in first place in the Western Conference. I know they're coming off a loss against Real Salt Lake, but they did beat Atlanta United in a massive comeback win on the 4th of July. The team has leadership that I don't think, for some reason, just didn't come out last season, and they know how to grind out results. I know me and Jake both watched the Minnesota FC Dallas game, and I think we both agree that was more of a grind out result for Dallas that they just didn't have last season. And there's a lot of people stepping up. I mean, Roland Lamar, who everyone in the Dallas media, including myself, said completely overpaid. We don't know why Dallas is keeping them. Leads the team in scoring with 7 goals, and according to many players, has been a leader on this team. And good for Oscar Pareja and co. for going past what happened last year. I mean, he had a quote at a post-game press conference that said, "I'm done with last year. I'm done with 2 years ago when we won 60 points. I'm ready for right now what this team can do." And we'll see what this team can do because they just transferred Mauro Diaz, their best playmaker. So we'll see. We'll really see if Oscar Pareja has up his sleeve coming up. But I mean, it's good for them that they turn it around, especially after last season's collapse.
So, listeners, if you disagree or you have hate mail for Jake, please send it over. You know where to follow him on Twitter. Follow the show at UncSamSoccerPod. Quickly, fellas, before we get going to Charles Boehm, signing or trade of the season?
My trade of the season is Tim Parker to the New York Red Bulls. I think that trade Felipe was great, and now they've established a great partnership with Tim Parker and Aaron Long, and it's provided stability in the back for Red Bulls.
Jake?
For me, it's going to be a little biased here. Darwin Quintero, like Armand said earlier, a $200,000 transfer from Club America, 6 goals, 2 assists in 13 games played. Finally, a actual decent player for Minnesota United.
Mine goes to Jesse Sardis, going to Columbus Crew, scoring goals, and helping the club win on the field when you have all the off-field speculation. He could have easily gone to the Columbus Crew and just mailed it in, collect a paycheck, and become irrelevant. But no, he's going to fight for his place. He's going to fight for his name, and suddenly he's probably back on the U.S. men's national team radar. Lastly, meaningless moment of the season. Jake.
For me, my meaningless moment is Ernie Stewart leaving Philadelphia Union to take a meaningless position and be the GM of U.S. Soccer. Armand.
Oh, meaningless. The most meaningless moment has to be, I would say that you put me on the spot because I don't think any moment in MLS is meaningless because MLS has a special place in my heart. I would say the first part of the season because Seattle Sounders know that they can just turn it around and make the playoffs and win the MLS Cup. So
most meaningless
let's go with that.
moment.
Shots fired.
The amount of players getting sent to the World Cup. It's a pretty easy thing to do when you can just buy them. How about you produce a couple of players? Anyway, listeners, up next is Charles Boehm.
Joining us now on the show is a regular guest of ours, Charles Boehm from MLSsoccer.com. Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Always a pleasure to chat with you guys.
So, Charles, I know right now you're actually doing some editing for the Red Bull NYC game. We heard this week that Jesse Marsch is leaving Red Bull New York to go to Red Bull Leipzig. What are your thoughts on that, and what do you think is going to happen with Red Bull now that their main man has gone to Leipzig?
I think it's on balance a good thing. Definitely a good thing for Jesse Marsch, although the devil's in the details in terms of the role and the responsibilities that and the power or lack thereof that he will or will not have in his new job. I'm still waiting to get a full picture of what his role is, and certainly it could work out for him or it could not. But it's very encouraging for me in the big picture to see a U.S. coach be recognized and given an opportunity by major club, in this case a major sort of global network, the Red Bull network, and to kind of have a chance to move up, even if it's only a sideways move for him in terms of taking a smaller job or a lower level job within the system there. I think it long term has good possibilities for his career and by extension for American soccer, because if we talk all the time about U.S. players going abroad and getting experiences in big leagues and in big soccer cultures and high level clubs and leagues, and coaches should be seeking to do the same thing. And it's actually even rare for American coaches to work abroad in a professional context at a high level than it is for players. So I think I understand Red Bulls fans who may be upset, but I think the last few years have shown that the Red Bulls are part of a wider system. It's a very well run, very very thoughtful system, and I think they'll be in the long term. The system is what matters more than any particular individuals within it. And I would say a positive word about Chris Armas too. It's his first head coaching experience at the professional level, I believe, but I think he's well prepared for it. He's earned a lot of respect, and seems to be a good person and a good coach.
Charles, what do you think Jesse Marsch's hire by RB Leipzig says about MLS?
I'm hesitant to make any grand pronouncements about the league itself or effects for the league or signs for the league. I think it only looks like a good sign to have again a coach go abroad and be respected enough by a major European organization like this. I think you could definitely make the case that it's a sign of opportunities and that growth and success can be rewarded in this league. I think we have a tendency with American soccer in general to kind of live in a bubble and be a little bit too self-encapsulated and not always have a global context to things that happen. And in this case, it's definitely a good sign. But I'm hoping that it's the harbinger of a trend that more coaches do this. But I'm definitely not holding my breath on that. I think we'll have to wait and see what other coaches like him do. But hopefully hopefully others get that urge to go abroad and in some cases have humbling experiences, but that can lead to big long-term progress.
No, absolutely, Charles. And speaking of MLS, it's basically the halfway point of the MLS season. I mean, I think Game 17 for a lot of teams was that 4th of July match, but who is your team that you would rate as the most surprising so far?
Ooh, most surprising. That's a good question. I would say I'll give you guys a couple of options at different ends of the spectrum. I've been pleasantly surprised by LAFC. Still waiting to see if they hit some of the walls that expansion teams hit, over the sort of summer grind where things get a little bit tougher. But they certainly seem to be have already weathered a few patchy spots and are growing in strength and depth as they kind of enter the home stretch. And we have enough of a look at them to say that they've been not only successful in terms of results, but pretty easy on the eye. I think there's a few clubs that around the league that are more attractive to neutral fans to watch. And I think LFC definitely falls to that category, which to me, it matters. And it's a compliment to what Bob Bradley has done in terms of tactics and aesthetics and his player selections. I've been a little bit surprised at the other end at just how bad the Rapids have been. And I say that knowing that they arrested their slump a little bit. They won a few games after going, I think, 8 or 9 games straight with all losses. But I'm just shocked that they've had such a hard time. So that's been a not so nice surprise. And then I'm still waiting to see, if we can get a little bit of a clearer sense of some of the teams out there in terms of overall sort of projects or teams of stories. I'm fascinated by what's happening in Philadelphia. I think they're interesting to watch. Orlando, even though they've been a hot mess at times, they're fascinating to me. I'm eager to see, what those teams sort of prove to be in the end. I think they could be very good teams, or they could definitely tail off as they've shown at their worst. But those are some of the storylines that I'm kind of most intrigued by.
Charles, on the flip side of the coin, I know you mentioned Colorado, but who would be deemed your biggest disappointment so far this season?
Yeah, this may be a little bit harsh, I think, but Toronto FC, the fact that we're still here in mid-July talking about their struggles and their CCL hangover, I think is a surprise and is alarming. And I don't want to be too harsh because they've made as impressive a stab at winning CONCACAF Champions League as any MLS team ever has. And they came about as close as you can get without getting over the hump. To lose the way they did in the final on penalties is agonizing. I watched most of their run through CCL. But for this perfect storm of stuff to happen to them, that's kind of still left them trying to find themselves and salvage their season here in midsummer is pretty stunning.
No, absolutely, Charles. I think we're all just thrown off by TFC's struggles, especially, after you've seen a team reach MLS Cup 2 years in a row. Do you think any drastic changes need to be done by Toronto, or do you think it's more of a matter of, okay, they need to get healthy, get Altidore back, and then we'll see from there?
Well, I don't have the full picture in front of me right now, so I'm a little nervous about bringing this up because I don't know the latest on it. But I believe there's been a little bit of uncertainty about Giofinco's future. He seems to have been unsettled in terms of, not getting what he wants in terms of contracts and everything. And we'll see where that goes. I certainly would hope that they would keep him around and that the two sides can find the numbers and the terms that work for them to keep him, because he's such a big part of what makes them a special team and their identity. Now that being said, I know they're reaching the MLS Cup. Gave me an opportunity, the last MLS Cup, to kind of talk to some people around that club and learn a little bit more about how they operate. And I think even with the poor results and some of the troubling questions that hang over their heads, I think it's just still a well-run organization, a model organization. They use a lot of quantitative data. Crunch a lot of big numbers in how they go about things and try to inform themselves on multiple levels. So if they're not making a deal, let's say with Giovinco, I would guess they have reasons for that. But I certainly am rooting for them to figure themselves out, because they've been so good now for so long, for the last few years. And I would hope that this particular kind of core that they have on this roster gets another year at it if things don't shake out the way that they expected it would this year in the end.
Charles, who would you say to this point of the season has been the MVP of the league?
Ooh, it's a good one. Put me on the spot here. I think, and again, I hate talking about this in midseason because a lot can change in the next few months. But right now, the what's happening in Atlanta, you got it right. So Joseph Martinez is turned out to be, I think we can safely say, one of the best pure finishers MLS has ever seen. He's at a very high level in that regard. Almiron is sort of the right-hand man there, and maybe doesn't put up the gaudy numbers, but I imagine he'll be in the MVP conversation if they continue on their the current levels of form or anything close to it. That said, I think in the wider context, Carlos Vela will be in the conversation if he continues the way his first half went. Had a pretty good World Cup also, and it just has shown a real specialness to him. He's a special player. It seems like a great personality, just another model sort of designated player that team has built itself around. So I imagine we'll be talking about him as well. Let me think what else. Oh, and then, if the Red Bulls continue on their trajectory, I think we'll be talking about Kaku as a possible dark horse for that prize. He's the league leader in assists right now. He's at 10 assists, 3 of them game winners. He's also shown ability to finish pretty well. And we're only just seeing the start of his MLS career. So I'm intrigued to watch what the Red Bulls and Kaku in particular do down the stretch.
No, absolutely. And for our listeners out there, it's kind of a last-second announcement. I'll actually be heading to D.C. for a conference. I'm actually planning on going to the Audi Fields opening, and I want to talk to you about that, Charles. With Audi Field opening up next week, how excited are you to see this complex in action?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think a lot of you guys know I've been in the DC area for a long time. I first started covering DC United. I was there on the beat for the league site from 2004 to 2010. So I was kind of constantly around the team during that time, and I'm still, I live just a short walk from RFK. So I've been watching this team and this situation and this been part of the soccer community in DC for a long time, and it's a moment, decades in the making. So it's really fun to see. Now, that said, I'm also waiting to get my first look at the inside of the stadium. They're doing a ribbon cutting event tomorrow afternoon. Very eager to finally get a look at the inside, and the rumors around town are that this is going to be like it is with almost every stadium. There's going to be a photo finish in some aspects that we may see a few dusty corners and unfinished paint and that sort of thing. There may be a little bit of an edge to it there, but that's all just minor stuff in the big picture. This is I think one of the best soccer markets in North America, in Canada or the U.S. And it's kind of been, I think, marginalized because of DC United's situation with RFK and all the rest of it. And so now this is a chance for not only the club but the city and the soccer town that we have here to get the spotlight, and it's long overdue.
Charles, and speaking of the city of Washington D.C., Wayne Rooney's arrival is now official. What has been the vibe around DC now that it's known that he's going to be playing for DC United?
Well, it's kind of an interesting statement about the scene itself, that it hasn't been kind of universally acclaimed. Now, he's definitely got people in this town talking about DC United that haven't for a long time. Mainstream outlets, sports talk radio, people that have that maybe follow soccer in a in the bigger picture, especially with the World Cup happening right now. Rooney signing has put a lot of more eyes of those sorts on DC United. That's great. There's definitely doubts here among the soccer community, just the way there are everywhere else, about this move. Rooney's 32, but he's been playing at a high level, professional level, at a high energy style since he was 16 years old. So high mileage. How much is left in those legs? How is he going to adapt to basically having to do an abbreviated preseason in the middle of a hot summer here and kind of catch up to speed with this team that clearly needs him and is going to be counting the days until he arrives and is fit on a match day roster. And how will he fit into things tactically? So there's definitely questions, and then probably the biggest question is, does the extremely large amount of money they're guaranteeing to him make sense? This is the highest paid player in club history by double. I mean, he's making twice what Marcelo Gallardo, the previously highest paid player in DC United's history, was making. So when you look at the length of the contract, the amount of money that's being committed, and how little money they've spent in so many other areas, not just the roster, but the management of the club, this has been a really tightly run kind of bare bones staff and very, very, I guess, economically conservative organization for a long time. So, is this a harbinger of more spending? Are they going to open up in other areas? I think that's going to prove to be just as important as Rooney himself.
No, absolutely, Charles. And should we expect Rooney to play against, is it Vancouver on Saturday? Do you think he'll start if he plays, or he'll come off the bench? If you know anything about that, what's your guess?
Yeah, no, I haven't. He's only done one full training session, I think, thus far, or maybe he's got two now. I'm not sure. I can't remember what their weekend schedule was, but I think Friday was the first time he trained in full with the group because they were out on the West Coast last week. So considering that he'll have not that much time together, I'd be shocked if he starts. But I would not be surprised at all to see him come off the bench. Give the crowd what they want. Give a cameo at the very least, and maybe see if he can make an impact off the bench and kind of set him up for success in that way. So we'll see, and I'm sure the game states and his body will have a lot to do with it because he's definitely probably this coming week he's done a lot of work on his own and fitness type work to get up as close as he can up to speed. But when you look at their calendar, I mean, the schedule's been backloaded because of the stadium construction schedule. So they've got probably more games to play still than anyone, and most of them are at home. And July and August in particular are really heavy. So I think they're going to be very conscious of the risks, not taking risks in terms of overloading him early on.
Yeah, Charles, one last question here before we let you go. DC United has only played 2 home games thus far. Given that 15 of their next 20 games are at home, can they salvage this season and sneak into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's possible, but the mathematics of it and are pretty daunting. So, when you look at the pace that they would have to make to be sort of get up to those of us around the club have kind of battered around the 50 points milestone as where they would need to get to be certain. Now, that might not be, what the 6th seed actually gets to. They may be able to get away with less, but considering that it's a competitive conference, where the Red Bulls got to last year to get the final playoff spot, if they really want to make sure they can go over the hump, they're going to have to play at a pace of about 2 points a game, which is what, the league leaders are doing right now. That's right about where the top few teams in the league are. So can they turn it around that quickly? There's certainly going to be a boost from the stadium, but I just don't know that there's also going to be probably some bumps with the integration of Rooney and anybody else who arrives in the window. I think they are going to go out and at least shop hard and do their best to get a fullback because they're short in those spots, and they're kind of just generally haven't been good enough in defensive terms. So I honestly am a little bearish on their prospects of actually doing it. It's possible. And maybe you never know what the teams around them do, but it's a steep climb for certain.
Absolutely, Charles, and thank you for joining us again, Charles. Again, we have this shameless plug on the show, so go ahead and plug away where you can find all your stuff once again, and also your Twitter handle.
Yeah, so my Twitter handle, I usually post my work there. It's at CBOEHM, and I'm at MLSsoccer.com, USSoccerPlayers.com. And anybody else I can convince to pay me. So drop a line anytime. People can tweet me, and I'm on Twitter a lot. We can talk if people have questions or want to just chop it up. So thanks for having me on, guys, and enjoy the rest of the show.
All righty. Thank you, Charles.
Big thank you to Charles for joining the show. It's not his first time on. I think it's his third time I'm on. I've had him on
something like that
every couple of months. Guys, how excited are we for Wayne Rooney to be playing?
So I'm biased, right? Because I'll be in DC watching him play at Audi Field, because I'm super hyped. But as like a neutral, like an MLS guy, I'm not that excited. I'm kind of worried. Wayne has a lot of mileage on him, and sure, it's cool to see a world-class player play, but I mean, I just keep thinking about the South Americans that they could have been targeting instead of an aging Wayne Rooney and the massive investment they put towards him. But I mean, I mean, since I'm not a big MLS guy, you know, I'm excited. Give me that Wayne Rooney.
Jake, did you not say Wayne Rooney had more Twitter followers than all the major four sports teams in DC had?
Combined, yes. That was on a counterattack. I think that was the first ever counterattack. Going back and listen to that.
But it's such a huge opportunity for DC, and my hope is Rooney scores, obviously, this upcoming week. It's not that he needs to be a Golden Boot winner. He needs to score, but I want the team to win. I want them to start collecting some points, so they become a little bit more relevant with the new stadium. And there is a buzz, because if DC United, a team that we're going to look back in 20 years or in 30 years and be like, yeah, they were a historic team like the Green Bay Packers of the NFL were in the 60s, or the Boston Celtics in the 60s, where they won a lot. You know, we forget DC United has a trophy cabinet filled with silverware that some MLS teams are dying that they could even, you know, get a fourth of that trophy cabinet to bring over to theirs.
Yeah, the Wayne Rooney signing, I mean, at the very least, it makes DC United somewhat relevant in the marketplace, in the Washington, D.C. sports landscape. I'm glad Armand had the negative take on it, because I don't want to be seen as the person on the show that's negative about everything. Because that's what I feel like I'm trending in that direction.
He hates the crew.
I do not hate the crew.
Yeah, he
hates rivalries. He hates
rivalries. What doesn't he hate?
I don't know. The Wayne Rooney signing, Armand, you alluded to this. To me, I would have just preferred DC United to sign a young, up-and-coming South American player.
No,
wrong, develop him.
Wrong. Sorry.
What do you mean wrong? The league needs to develop into...
DC United needed to become relevant. They needed a punch for marketing purposes. This had to do as much off the field as on the field. Because if they got
I would argue it has more to do with off the field than anything on the field, even though I don't agree with that ideology.
So what happens when you sign Wayne Rooney to this outrageous
3.5 year
contract?
Deal.
Okay, you bring him in and he's not good, and DC United still isn't good.
Well,
what was the point of that?
That's a big F. That's a huge failure. But
at least people are watching them be really bad.
Jake, if Minnesota United are irrelevant for 10 years, and in 10 years' time they signed a Harry Kane type. Not Pulisic. Harry Kane.
Okay, calm down. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen.
If Minnesota United are irrelevant for the next 10 years, but the Harry Kane suddenly comes in, would you not be excited, and would you not go?
I mean, I might be excited for 6 months or a few months.
Bingo! Ding. That's what DC United needs. They need the next 6 months for them to be somewhat good, because they're going to make more moves. Wait till the offseason. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or win MLS Cup. They're going to, hopefully, what they need to do, like I said, is to win a couple of games early on, to bring a little bit of hope, to tell the fans, look, it might not be this year, but next season, we're bringing it on. They're going to sign more players in the offseason because there's going to be money there. Like, he's 32 years, Wayne Rooney. This dude's got more Twitter follows than the Washington Wizards, the Nationals, the Capitals, and the Redskins. People in England will be paying attention to DC United. This is a smart move off the field. Who knows if it works on the field? Ben Olsen's got to figure it out because I don't know how good of a coach he is.
It's not.
Should have signed a young South American player.
That would have done nothing. Zero.
Flip him over to Europe. That doesn't matter.
Look at Atlanta. Look at Atlanta.
Oh, but Atlanta. No, that's such.
Who does Atlanta? Okay, come out. Who does Atlanta, young, DP wise, have that is quote unquote relevant in the terms of soccer internationally? Name me one. I'm glad you didn't name any, because Almiron isn't, Martinez isn't, Barco isn't, Villalba isn't.
Barco is on the radar of every club in Europe. Barco is on the short list.
No, but Barco is not even on the comparison thing of Rooney.
No, you're right.
You can't
you're right.
those
but
two.
Atlanta United's model was different from day one from DC because Atlanta came in as an expansion franchise, and the city was hype about it because it was brand new. You'll believe it or not, it's going to be the same with Nashville. Who knows? Nashville could be NYCFC and lose 7,000 in the average attendance in a span of 3 years.
He was waiting on it.
He's been sitting on that stat for about 7.5 hours.
It's a brilliant stat. It really is. God, I hope I read it right.
Hashtag save city.
Hashtag save NYC.
No, but a South American would be good for all our MLS junkies. Woohoo! But to the average soccer fan,
it's the same thing with Atlanta. It's not like they brought.
No, it's different. It's so different.
You mean to tell me marketing some old, rundown Wayne Rooney is a better idea than potentially signing some young, exciting players that want to
Ibrahimovic.
Attacking football.
Ibrahimovic.
And market your team that way and market your league that way. You
think Ibrahimovic is good.
And Rooney's not. Rooney's 5 years younger than Ibra.
Yes, but Rooney was... Zlatan was still good at Manchester United. What was Wayne Rooney doing at Everton this year?
Yeah, but the talent around United compared to Everton, I don't know why you guys are so down on the signing, because if FC Dallas signed Wayne Rooney, Armand would be jumping through the roof.
The league doesn't get better signing old players. He's not
old.
That's not the next step. The league is not going to get better by just signing the
Jake. This signing is
guys who aren't good enough to play in Europe anymore.
DC United relevant again. That's what the signing is about.
Good luck to DC United.
I promise you, in the off season, they're going to sign some young guy. They have to.
That's what they tell you. That's called selling hope. I'm glad you're drinking the Kool-Aid. How does it taste? It tastes good?
All right, Jake, mark the tape. Mark the tape. Mark the tape.
I'm done with DC United talk.
Mark the tape. I'm going to play this when DC United make the playoffs.
Fast-paced, shifty movement, brilliant skill. It's the counterattack with Jake Watroba.
Counterattack time here on Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. I got 3 topics here for discussion for you guys. We've kind of hinted towards some of them during the show. They're not going to be really much of a surprise to you guys.
Wayne Rooney.
No, he's not. Yeah, we're not talking about we're talking about Wayne Rooney. We're done with that.
You are really and truly Mr. Negative. I like it. I genuinely like the negativity. Because you as a sports fan have had nothing but misery, so I understand where the negativity comes from.
I just want the league to get better, and it's not going to get better with Wayne Rooney. I'm sorry. It's going to get better with some 19-year-old kid from Argentina. It's not going to get better with 32-year-old decrepit Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
Anyway,
moving on. Let's just move on.
I don't care. I'm done making it Wayne. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
We only got 6 more minutes here, you guys. Come on. U.S. men's national team striker Bobby Wood has been loaned out by Hamburg to Hannover 96 with the option to buy. Guys, do you think Bobby Wood Do you think this is a good move for Bobby Wood, or should he maybe make the transition to MLS?
No, because MLS would not be good.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, but Wayne Rooney's a great idea.
It's different.
He was waiting for that one.
No, wait.
I don't think it'd be a good. I think it'd be a good signing for MLS when he went there, but I think it'd be a bad signing for him to go to MLS.
Jake.
Yes.
For MLS, yes, it's a good signing. For having Wayne Rooney or Bobby Wood come in. As the player, though, Wayne Rooney is better suited for MLS than Bobby Wood because Bobby Wood's still going up. Wayne Rooney is plateaued.
Going down.
Anyway, okay, I had to take the Wayne Rooney shot. Is this move to Hanover 96 a good move for Bobby Wood, or are his days in Europe maybe over?
He's a good striker.
I don't remember him doing.
He wasn't good
that much last year.
He scored 2 goals. 2 goals, right? Like he needs a year to get his confidence back. I mean, maybe if he spent time in the second Bundesliga, I mean, shoot, maybe that could help him out. But hopefully, this loan spell helps him out. I'm not sure if it will because his confidence seems kind of shot. He needs a big year this year, or else he will be coming to MLS next season.
Yeah, he did not do much last season, and his team got relegated. So I think he needs to just, go back to his roots and rediscover himself.
Yeah, I don't. I'm a little on the fence about him staying in the Bundesliga. I'm not sure that is the best move for Bobby Wood. But moving on here to an article posted by Doug McIntyre of Yahoo Sports. Stoke City and U.S. men's national team defender Jeff Cameron reportedly turned down a 2-year contract worth $1 million per season from the LA Galaxy. In addition to the report, Sam Stejskal of MLSsoccer.com reported that New England Revolution have also kicked the tires on Jeff Cameron. Do you think Cameron is coming stateside?
He's going to the New England Revolution.
You think? Even with the turf?
Oh, easily. That's his home state.
Yeah, I mean, he did play in college at Rhode Island. I would be... I would like to see him on the Galaxy, to be honest. That team is leaky defensively. If they could get Cameron in there, maybe instead of Shelvik or Siani, I think it could be interesting to pair him up with a very good defender. So
defending corners against LA with Ibra and Cameron, it's not easy.
They'd be a good team, man. I mean, they're already. I think they'll sneak into the playoffs at this point. But I think adding a player like Cameron would be massive. I'm also not surprised he rejected it because I feel like he wants to stay in the Prem.
Well, Stoke City got relegated, but
right.
Jeff Cameron's soap opera is how MLS sucks. So coming over to MLS for the money would look very hypocritical. But at this stage in his career, I think his days with the U.S. men's national team is done, and he should just be looking to collect a paycheck.
I agree, fellas. I think Jeff Cameron is coming over to MLS. Moving on to our final topic of the day. Roy Neymar is reporting that Argentinian national team coach Jorge Sampaoli has received an offer from USSF to be the next manager of the national team. Does Jorge Sampaoli get you guys excited?
Yes, he does. He does. I'm going to come in with a hot take right now. I think there was so much criticism of the way he coached Argentina, and rightfully so. But I feel like that's been a problem for many teams, almost except for many coaches. With Argentina, it's tough to build a team around one player, such as he's tried to do with Messi, and they've failed miserably. But he did have success in Chile, and he's had success overall. I think he's up there. His signing, I'd be happy with him. I'd be happy with Juan Carlos Osorio. I don't think you can take what he did with Argentina. Like you still have to take into consideration, but there's also some circumstances. It's different, as Steven would say. It's different.
Why is it different? Why would I say it's
different?
Because
you're making a team around one player, Leo Messi. Tactically, that's tough because you have to incorporate Messi into your lineup. Watch, I bet you Ewing theory. Messi's not going to play for Argentina in the next World Cup. They probably will end up doing better. I think part of it is that you have Messi there. It's difficult to make a team around him of sorts. Look at Portugal; they struggled. Soccer isn't a one-man game. I think it's a lot more difficult to coach Argentina than it is to pass Messi the ball and just see what happens.
I think he'd be interesting for the U.S. men's national team. I want them to hire somebody who is not American.
I'm on the fence about the possibility of him coming over to be the national team coach. On one hand, it's recency bias. We look at what he did in Argentina and think, yeah, I don't really want that with the national team. However, we cannot choose to overlook what he did with Chile in 2014.
Exactly.
So,
no, I mean, I agree. I don't think he's bad. I think U.S. men's national team is a lot different of a setup because it's not one player. It is a collective. I like his emotion. I think you need to go outside of America because I think you need a voice that comes from soccer culture. You hire an American, they're not going to have the same mentality. You're not going to have the same respect level from the European-based players. I think as Pulisic and all these young guys, Adams, who eventually will get over there, McKennie, even a Parks, they will look at American, in particular MLS coaches. They're going to look down on them. And by bringing somebody with a brute force and a commanding presence, it will shut the locker room up. He didn't do it with Argentina, but he was very successful with Chile.
You know who I'd be really interested to see as U.S. men's national team manager? Tata Martino.
Yeah.
Tata Martino. I think he'd be a really interesting coach. Entertaining soccer, also of that Latino, so you might those, especially those Mexican Americans who are on the fence of playing for Mexico, United States, you might be able to pull in them because of the attractive style of soccer. I mean, look what he's done. He's already pulled in Almiron, Barco, Martinez, Villalba. They all want to play for him.
I think any Hispanic coach would help get that player, that dual national player, to commit to the U.S. national team.
Well, there you have it. The end of the counterattack. Follow us on Twitter, UncSamSoccerPod. Hate mail for Jake Watroba. Check out the website. We'll be sending that on the Twitter machine. You'll be able to read the first posting. And we're going to have a new contributor to the team, so be on the lookout for that.
I'll see y'all in DC next week.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Hey, Wayne Rooney to the DC area fan base truly kicks off next week. Armand will be there. Follow him. Anyway, listeners, check out the mini-series on the potential relocation of the Columbus Crew. And we'll be back midweek with a wonderful midweek edition of Uncle Sam's Soccer Pod.